So I want to tell you about something that happened a very long time ago. I wasn't even born then. It was a very long time ago. Even the oldest person here wasn't born. Really, it was a long, long time ago. But it's something that still affects us today. A long time ago, there was loads of angels, God and loads of angels. And the devil was one of those angels. And he was a very powerful angel. And I don't know if you've ever wanted something that somebody else has had. Hopefully not. But sometimes if you want something that somebody else has got and you don't, and you want it badly enough, you go try and take it. And that's really bad. But that's what the devil did. He wanted to be like God. And he wanted it so much that he started a revolution. As a result, God threw him out of heaven. And all of the angels that had sided with him as well. But ever since then, this battle has been going on, and it's a battle that we don't really see. Sometimes it's suggested that it's a bit like this. Can you see that? You have a wee angel on one shoulder and a wee devil on the other shoulder. And the one's going, go on, go on, go on. And the other's saying, no, don't. And that's what we think it's like. And it is kind of like that. And what we have to learn to do is not let it go on for too long, but we need to know what the right thing is and just decide that we're going to do it. But they're both there trying to persuade you that you should do that thing that they're saying. And I understand why people think like that, because we talk of being tempted. Oh, I was in Arran yesterday. Well, there's a chocolate shop. Right? So, someone offers us chocolate. And it's like, don't tempt me. Right? We actually say that, don't tempt me. It might not be chocolate for you, it might be something else. But I went into this chocolate shop yesterday, and not only was there chocolate, there was fudge. Fudge! Real, and all sorts of flavors, and well, I was tempted. But I have to say, for once in my life, I was good. And I didn't give in to that particular temptation yesterday, although it was blooming close. But you see, we have choices to make. I could have chosen to give in to that temptation and buy the fudge. However, what would have happened is I wouldn't just have bought a wee bit, I bought a big bit, and then maybe one of another flavour, just in case, because you've got to try them, because, you might not like the first one, and then you can end up with 4 or 5 different bits. Easily 4 or 5 different bits if I had given in to that temptation. The Bible tells us that a way back in history, the very first people made bad choices. They gave in to the temptation. God had said, there's a tree here and it's got really good fruit, and I don't want you to eat that fruit. And the devil came and said, do you know what? Look at that fruit. That fruit's really, look at it. It's beautiful fruit. It's lovely fruit. It's great fruit. And he tempted them. And then he said, do you know what? If you eat that fruit, you'll be like God. Well, they didn't want to be like God. That had never crossed their mind. That was what he wanted. But that was enough. And they ate the fruit. And just like the devil and his angels, God said, I can't really have anything to do with you anymore because you disobeyed me. And that was, from that moment, the battle for human beings was on between God and the devil. The Bible calls what they did sinful. It's a kind of strange word. We don't really use that word anymore because we don't really like it very much. But we see it every day. I don't know if anybody has ever been nasty and horrible and unpleasant to you, if they've called you names or if they've hit you. People used to do that to me. Sometimes still do. I know, oh, thanks very much. There was one at least, one's listening. But that's one of the ways that we see sin in the world. If you look around the world, you see fear and anger and hunger and slavery. You see all sorts of things that mean sin is there. People are not always good and they don't always make the right choices. In fact, very often we make really bad choices that affect other people in really serious ways. Over the years, the devil has tried to convince people that either he is so powerful they can't resist him, and so they shouldn't bother, or he's not real, and so they don't even need to try resist him. In other words, what he's saying is, you don't need God. If I'm not real, you don't need God. But I think that battle that's going on is something that we don't take seriously enough. We see cartoon pictures of the devil. Cheery wee chappy. Lovely wee, forked tail and wee horns, and kind of cute. And that's kind of what he wants you to think. Because if he's really like that, well, it's a bit stupid to believe in him, isn't it? It's stupid to believe that he's real or that he has any actual power. But the Bible says something different. The Bible says he is real and he is powerful. In James chapter 4, it says this: submit yourselves then to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Come near to God, and he'll come near to you. Resist the devil, and he will flee. Do you know what? Last week I was saying, it's not me that the devil is frightened of. It's God in me. So when we trust God, and we put on the armor that we've been thinking about, and we say to the devil, no, enough, we are tempting, then he's got to go. The devil is real, but God is much more powerful than him. Why did Jesus come? Well, I love this picture. Jesus, the true superhero, talking to the Hulk, and is that Captain America, the next one? And then Spider-Man, and then Margaret's favourite. And then Thor. And Jesus is saying, and that's how I saved the world. All these other folk are fictional characters. Somebody's just written a story. But Jesus was a real person, and there's loads of evidence for that. And he saved the world. He came so that anyone who believes in him can be forgiven. We can be made right with God, and we can become a spiritual child of God. Take all the armor and all the other stuff that God offers. But there was a price for that. There was a cost. Jesus was killed. He was put on a cross. He was buried in a tomb. And you can just imagine how the devil must have laughed. Because he thought he had won. You imagine the devil, all these demons there. And they laughed because Jesus was dead. God's plan seemed to be finished. And I imagine all the angels in heaven. I couldn't hold my breath for 3 days. I don't even know if angels breathe. But I can imagine everything just stopped. And they were waiting to see what happened next. And we sing a song. And it talks about Jesus rising from the dead. And it says when that happened, the angels roared. In fact, maybe we should sing that later. It's So Praise the Name. Have you got music? We might do that later. It just struck me. If not, it's fine. But I can just imagine when Jesus came back to life, all of the angels in heaven roared that he was alive because they were so excited. And from that very moment, the devil knew he had lost. Jesus had won. The battle's still going on, but Jesus, we know, is going to win. He is the real superhero in this story. And until Jesus comes back one day to take us to be with him, that battle continues, and we have to face it every single day. But we're not helpless in the battle. We read very well. Thank you very much for the reading. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's scheme. Put it on. It might be sitting there, but if you don't actually put it on, it's not worth having. Put it on. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood. We can't see. It's not against other people. It's about things that we can't really see and sometimes don't understand. It's quite difficult. But I wanted to point out, it says, therefore put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes. It's not if, it's when. It is a battle and it is real. But God has given us armor to protect us in that battle. The day of evil, every day, we have to trust him and we have to follow him every day. The best way to do that is to read our Bible and to pray every day. Time with our friends and with God every day. Because the battle is every day. But if God says that if we trust him and put on his armor, then we will win that battle. Being a Christian isn't easy. It is a battle. And sometimes it's really hard. But Jesus, who is the real superhero of the story, said that he came to give us the best life we could possibly have. The best that we can imagine. And that is worth fighting for.